Hello guys, I'm Su. Nice to meet you again. It's been a very long time that I haven't made any videos. But that's not because that I had nothing to talk about. Actually, I always have something to talk about. I like to talk to my friends um, on the phone for a very long time about some very important, deep topics. Um, but sometimes I'm just not in the mood of making videos because somehow it seems to me whatever I'm talking about doesn't make sense as long as the West hasn't collapsed yet. Everything I was talking about is meant to build a better society based on historical Chinese experience. But as long as the West is still dominating, is making rules, is um, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It cannot put my teachings into practice. It doesn't have the condition for that thing to happen. Um, and I think many people, including many audiences of my videos, are probably too positive about things that are happening in China. Um, and I can tell you that things are not so good as you think. In China because many things in China are still controlled by the West, um, like the mainstream medias in China um, and the finance. China has about 12 trillion US dollars um, invested in America, including stock market, the treasury securities of America, and other financial products, etc. So today I don't want to talk about political philosophy or other academic topics, um, and I want to instead talk about the politics status quo, the war between Iran and America, and what's going to happen next. As everyone knows, the reason why America starts this war against Iran is to maintain the petrodollar system that is otherwise collapsing. But the reality is Trump has actually lost this war. It failed to win this war, and he just keeps bragging. But everybody who can see clearly is the fact that America has lost this war. Um, but America has already reached 40 trillion national debt. Um, and this is a very serious problem. And also, the bubble of the stock market is very high. It can collapses. The bubble can be broken at any moment. And here I want to introduce an opinion made by Professor Lu, which I agree. And Mr. Lu's opinion is that America is actually now making a conspiracy. And this conspiracy is collaborated by Besant and Wash. Um, the idea is that America is pretending to try to keep the inflation low, try to keep the oil price low, but it is actually trying to do the opposite. Basant and Wash are actually planning to push the inflation rocket high to cause worldwide hyperinflation. So the whole world's economy collapses and money flows back to America. And by achieving this, it can at the same time pretending that it's Iran who caused this, can put the blame totally on Iran and telling the world that, see, it's, oh, well, we want to make the deal. It's I mean, Iran that blocks Hormuz, and now you see all the shit happens, etc. And this is a very effective way to solve its national debt problem um, because um, as long as money flows back to America and inflation happens, the hyperinflation happens worldwide and happens in America at the same time, America can cause the devaluation of dollar against um, gold, um, oil, and other resources. Um, um, but America has already stored a very huge amount of gold, copper, oil, and other resources. Um, it can sell these things to trade for devalued American dollars. So all of a sudden, American national debt becomes much less because of the devaluation of US dollars. Um, but this means the devaluation of all US dollar assets at the same time. So it could cause the collapse of American stock market. But it will at the same time cause the hyperinflation in America domestically at the same time. So you can see the food price, oil price, everything becomes rocket high that nobody can afford to pay for their basic living anymore. It probably will lead to a revolution in America because people cannot live anymore. Everything becomes not affordable. Um, and the American government obviously doesn't want this to happen. So I think about it for a while, and a very dangerous possibility comes into my mind, um, that the only way for American government to prevent revolution from taking place in America is to declare national emergency, to declare the war state emergency, and to declare wartime rationing. But the war between America and Iran, status quo, is not big enough for America to declare national a wartime emergency or something like that. So I was thinking, so I am thinking that Trump may use nuclear bombs on Iran. Um, in this way, it can allow Trump to declare nationwide wartime emergency. Um, and after Trump does this, America doesn't need to pretend to be a civilized country anymore. Um, it can freeze all Chinese assets in America at the same time because China has, like I said before, 12 trillion US dollar assets in America. And it probably will ask Japan to attack China at the same time. Um, and this will be not just World War III. This will be something that I don't know how to name it. And here comes another question. Has America thought of the consequences that Iran is going to revenge on Israel? That after the nuclear bomb thing, that Iran is probably going to completely remove Israel from the map. And the answer is that that's exactly what America wants. It is true that America as a country is controlled somehow by Israel, but it at the same time wants to get rid of Israel because that's the biggest burden that America has had in history. If Israel can be got rid of, then somehow America becomes free. But America cannot do this by his own hands. It needs to use someone else to do the dirty job. In Chinese, there's an idiom called 一石二鸟, which means I use one stone to hit two birds. It means to solve two problems with one single move. So America may want to use this method to get rid of Iran and Israel at the same time. Actually, this conspiracy cannot be done by Trump because Trump doesn't have IQ high enough to think about this. It could have been done by Besant and Wash, but in the end of the day, it will still be Trump that is going to push the big red button. Um, but people may still ask, um, what will the world see America? How will the world see America after all this happens? And my answer is that does this matter anymore? Does this matter anymore? Do you think America will care anymore? As long as they have made up their mind to do this. So this is just a possibility that comes into my mind, but it is also logical at every step.